I love East Cleveland.
You right way.
Huh?
That's your bad.
So, see, she knows. So, so just really, I need to change the way people see government here in East Cleveland. And I like to use the term paradigm shift. And the paradigm shift is where you kind of change the way you think about something, change the way you see something, right? And we have to have a paradigm shift around the way we see government in East Cleveland because we have no faith in it. We have no confidence in it. And it's not our fault. It's the fault of the people who we put our trust in to lead us or to change our city. And this is the time of the year where everyone who's running for something will try to get up in front of folks and talk about all the things that they're going to do and don't do anything. Or they don't do the things that they said they were going to do. Or they don't do the things that people need done.
Man, that's the main thing.
So here's the thing with a community like East Cleveland, it's very diverse, right? There are a lot of different people. People think like East Cleveland is all black, right? At best, it's predominantly black, right? It's never been all black. But then it's also seniors. It's also children. It's also young adults. It's also single people. It's also young couples starting families. All of those things, all of those different types of people, all those groups of people, they don't require the same things to have a good life. And so we too often get caught up in equality. We want equality. We want what everybody else has because we believe we deserve it. If I'm 6 feet tall and I want to look over a 7-foot wall, what do I need?
A ladder.
Oh, what I need is 1 foot.
That's right.
Doesn't matter how I get it. But if I'm 4 feet tall and I want to look over that same wall, what do I need now? 3 feet. But if I give myself only 1 foot because the first person only had 1 foot, we have equality. Because we both have that 1 extra foot. But I still can't see over the wall because equality was not what I needed. I needed equity because equity gives me what I need. Equity would have given me 3 feet and would have given the other person 1 foot. Then we both would have been 7 feet, and we both would have been able to see over the wall. And so we got to come to that point of requiring equity and not equality. And so my goal here today is to learn your equity. What's equitable to you? Right? Because if I go and have this same conversation, I'll start off the exact same way at the East Cleveland Rec Center. They don't need the same thing. They'll be telling me they don't want to pay $15 or they want the rec center open a certain time and all this kind of stuff. And that is perfectly reasonable because that's their equity. Well, what's your equity? What do you want? What's happening in your lives? What's happening in this facility? What's happening in this city that you need to be different, that you want to be different? Because that's what I want to do.
Can I stop you right there?
Sure.
Come back. I just want to close out our meeting. And then I want Mr. John is here. You can talk to them individually or as a group, but I do want to close out our council. Who's interested in talking to people, who's interested in talking to camera. you like, if you don't want to talk on camera, you don't have to. Okay, I hope nobody's, I meant to make an announcement at the beginning. Don't want to be on camera, let him know to X you out, okay? Um, but, all hearts and mind clear? Yes. Heavenly Father, we come to you with God in our heart. Thank you, Lord, for all that you've done, all that let the Lord campaign, Lord, let them clean. God, please help America. Bring not this let down in the way. The Lord, have mercy on us. Help our families and help us with our health and our mental spirit. Please remind me to pray. For bless the Lord. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
What I would say following that here, she said if you don't have anything to say, but you all got something to say. But you all in your bedrooms and community rooms and your apartments, and when you're talking on the phone, you all got something to say, right? Yeah. So don't be quiet now. You have a team here that wants to hear what you have to say.
And just a little side note, we got some pizza and wings and something to drink and some dessert in the back. So, we'll have a little food and fellowship afterwards. But, like Curtis said, right? It's important for us to hear from you. Like, what's on your mind right now? Okay, so some stuff happened over the last couple days, right? And some folks may have opinions about it, right? And I'm not taking a position about it one way or the other, but I'm just trying to kind of try to see what's on your mind. So what do you all think about what's happened? Do you know what's happened yesterday and today?
What do you mean about
The yeah, that stuff, right?
Yeah.
You know about all that stuff, right? And you understand too that we currently don't have a mayor, right?
Right.
That's not true.
Well,
You do.
no, actually,
You have an appointed.
well, that's where the point of contention is, right? You have one camp saying since the former mayor has been convicted and removed from office, the charter should take hold. Then you have the other camp that says since this appointment happened, the appointment should hold. The problem is now that everything has been adjudicated, a decision has to be made. So it's either the charter or it's the county's decision. Now, that should matter to us. Again, not taking sides, but that should matter to us because the decision that'll be made is either going to usurp our charter or it's going to confirm our charter. And that's important.
Sometimes state law takes precedent.
Never in a home city. Never in a home city does state law take precedence. And East Cleveland is a home city.
Home rule.
Home rule. So never in home rule city does state law take precedence.
What does that mean?
That means that the city's position on a particular subject is what rules the matter.
No.
So if there's a dispute between whether the charter is the governing authority or some other entity is, the home rule will take precedence.
So how do you explain city wanting to passing a marijuana legislation allowing marijuana? We had to have statewide referendum to change the Ohio law is because in a home rule situation.
All get what we need.
That's plus.
You need what? Say it again. So they sold your bus.
Yeah, and I personally went to the management trying to get them to sell it to us, to our council.
One of the things that the city used to have years ago, and we don't have it, since we used to have a HUD liaison. Because in your particular situation, HUD subsidizes this business.
Exactly.
So again, there needs to be a representative in this city to deal with HUD.
Well, yeah.
He had the former director of HUD was our council. Well, excuse me, Congresswoman Marcia Clark. And we didn't get any, she gave over $35 billion to this area. The city of East Cleveland didn't get any.
And here's another thing about HUD. East Cleveland gets all their HUD money up front.
Yes.
They don't apply to HUD and then get it as they need it. They get a big old lump sum,
We get block grant.
and then the city is supposed to determine what's done with the money.
Well,
And that's not happening, right?
Hasn't happened though. You're gonna change that.
Well, I'm going to change that absolutely. But the point is, there are things that are available to us now that folks just don't go after.
right.
It's not that it's not. Listen to me.
And
We are eligible for any and every federal grant that you can imagine. We are what? We are like the fourth or fifth poorest city in the nation. Fourth. There's nothing we shouldn't be able to get. The problem is we don't have anyone applying.
We went to a hearing debate about opportunity zones. And you all know what opportunity zones are, right? They're government designated areas where money is flowing. Well, in this area, there's a big donut hole. And the donut hole is clean.
If you look at the opportunity zone map from overhead, you see all this red around, and you see this empty area.
And the donut hole is right here.
And you know why? Because nobody applied for
Apply to be
the monies.
representative of East Cleveland at the meeting when opportunity zones were created.
So every community around us is an opportunity zone. You go up Fairfax, you go down St. Clair, Euclid Avenue, you see all that stuff, Carnegie, you see all that stuff happening. I'm sorry, you can't anymore. It was a one-time shot. Now another bill was introduced, and I've been following it for 5 years, but it hasn't gone anywhere. So we missed our only shot to be an opportunity zone. And that, what is it? What corridor? What is that called? The opportunity corridor. That's the result of being an opportunity zone.
Right.
Look at these communities that are building all these new senior facilities.
Yes, they got one. Cleveland Heights, they go play.
What are we building new?
Them.
We're not even renovating what we already got.
Can't even get a bottle.
are you gonna get one?
Applying for it. We're gonna bring somebody in whose job is to do nothing but find and apply for money. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they're beautiful. They're beautiful. And then I'm gonna tell you another thing. I went about 4 years ago. I went to Baltimore. Anybody see that show, The Wire? The Wire. There was this HBO show called The Wire.
Yeah.
It was great, wasn't it?
Yeah.
5 years, four or 5 years ago, I went to Baltimore to that very area that they shot The Wire at, because that area has been totally renewed. And they did it with local money. 2 guys, their daddy gave them an inheritance. They decided to use that inheritance to adopt one of those areas one of the neighborhoods in that area and fix it. And then got some of their other friends to come in on it. And by the time it was over, the whole area was clean. Beautiful. Look at all the beautiful architecture we have here in East Cleveland. We are so quick to tear something down without a plan to put anything back up.
Well, then this brand new stuff that they cook up, branding.
And that's the other thing. We don't care how people put their businesses up. We don't make them have the same color awnings, the same color paint. We don't have any ordinances or any rules for what they put up in the window and things like that, right? And so, stuff looks crazy. I went to pick up the pizza right? And there's a smoke shop right next to Papa John's. Now, there are like 10 signs in the window that says no loitering, but there were 4 people out smoking vape next to the Papa John's. Now, how is that no loitering? Right? That's the definition of loitering, right? And they weren't worried. Why? Because nobody was going to come around and do anything about it, right? Who feels protected by our police force? So, that's a problem. That's a problem.
How many do we have left?
I don't know, but I know they're more convicted than we have.
I know we had 2 cars on yesterday.
And and even the cops that are here don't reflect the community. And another thing, they don't live in the community. You can go up to Cleveland Heights at night, and what do you see? You see police cars in driveway.
Yep.
Because they live in the city and they're encouraged to take cars home. I don't know that there's one police officer that lives in East Cleveland. And I bet you there aren't.
Retired.
He just retired.
He just understand.
And I bet you there are not 5 people. I bet you there are not 5 people who work in City Hall that live in East Cleveland. And in fact, I think it's only 1.
Over churches.
Oh, then it's at least 2. You're right. Judge lives. He's living across the street from
At
me.
least, well,
So, huh? So the point is, nobody is necessarily committed to the city who works in the city, right? They get a paycheck and they leave. They don't even spend their money in the city. But is it their fault? No. Where are they going to spend their money at? Right? Unless they want to go to Nemo's and get some liquor,
Right.
or get some fast food, where they going to go? They want to go get some 24-hour gas station chicken or something like that, right? But where else you going to spend your money in East Cleveland? That's got to change. That's got to change. We have so many assets already, but we don't do anything with them and we don't develop around them. My plan, and it's actually our plan because we developed it as part of ECGA, but we want to create districts. For instance, on Euclid Avenue, you got the library, and you got that brand new beautiful theater. Right across the street, you got the East Cleveland Theater that we're trying to find money to renovate. Across the street on the other side, you got that big old church that somebody tried to turn into an entertainment facility. I say let's finish that job. You know why? Because we can have a little mini Playhouse Square district. And guess what? That district will be right down the street from the big one on Euclid Avenue. And it's what, 10, 15 minutes away. So we have the benefit of those people who like live entertainment and who like to go to the theater, and we're a straight shot. And that's why the county and University Circle are so interested in us. Right? We're a gym. We got the end of the rapid station. Right? That's powerful. That's a powerful position. All right? And you know, Euclid Avenue is a main thoroughfare in the United States.
Right. Yeah.
But I bet you there's not a part of Euclid Avenue in this country any worse than ours.
Right. Bank in East Cleveland.
I don't have a bank.
That's
Hmm?
That's so much to this. You know, that's what my that's my question. Okay, good.
All right, somebody's asking, are we in a hub zone? And no, we are not in a hub zone. We're just a kind of standard municipality. A hub zone is, and people may have different meanings for it, but a hub zone is an area that's concentrated in some kind of development activity, right? So it intends to be a hub for something, right? Some kind of development or some kind of activity. Well, oh, okay, hold on. Do you have, and somebody asked, do we have a city planning department and commissioners? No. We have a planning department that is dormant and we don't have any commissioners anymore. And I think even the inspectors, when they use them, they're contractors. They're not even employees of the city.
Our city engineer department.
Right.
Our city engineer department.
So, Brandy, what did you say? I'm sorry. What was your question?
Not circle. That,
For East Cleveland?
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Right. I know exactly what you're talking about.
So,
She's talking about
thinking that they.
okay.
You want.
Right. The one we tried to buy, right? The old MRDD building, right? We
No.
we submitted a bid for $1.5 million for that building. They gave it to somebody for $600,000. Then we had this huge plan. We were going to call this building the Hub in East Cleveland, and it was going to be this multi-use facility. We were going to have Amazon and UPS pickup stations for people that didn't want to leave their packages out. We were going to have rentable office space, and we were going to have a recording studio for people who wanted to like do videos and stuff like that. And then when the buyer bought the building and released their plan, it was ours, almost verbatim. But
Somebody.
well, we wrote it and published it.
What happened is when you submit a plan to the county, it becomes theirs. And what happened was they showed our plan to the buyer, and the buyer, when they released the public plan, it was ours.
And look, and we know that stuff is gonna happen. That's why we release our stuff first, because we know they're gonna copy. Right? Look, I applied to be the interim mayor. Straight up, I submitted a 17-page application. I don't care who got it. You can't tell me that anybody's was better than mine. But I didn't get it, so why talk about it? Right? I lost. So I can't do nothing about it. I'm here now. And I'm coming to you all. Because you all are the people that count. I don't want to be appointed. I want to win the election.
And I told you, I said, it's the same thing, King had the same thing too.
Because we met with them some years ago and told them our plan too. Look, listen. The first plan that we had was to renovate the Civic Center. All right.
Oh.
We were gonna pick it up and we were gonna flip it over. We're gonna turn it around so that the front door was on the back end. We were gonna rebuild the football stadium and put bleachers there so they could actually have competitions. We're more focused towards youth league, right? And then all of those streets, all of those houses that were torn down across the street, we said, turn it into a parking lot and put meters in it. We were gonna turn it into a parking lot, put meters in it, but we said the city, the only thing we asked was that the city turn the meters off during activities at the facility or at Shaw Stadium. And they had $1,700 or $1,000.
No, they had 107.
Oh, right. They had $107,000 to put towards the Civic Center. We said keep it and do something else with it, right? So then they said, well, we have to be signers on your bank account. And so after I stopped laughing at them, Mike Smedley and King, after I stopped laughing at them, I said, why would you want to be signers on our account? And so here's the example that they gave, right? So there was this other guy with me, and I'm not going to say his name, right? But he was sitting next to me, and they used him as the example. And they said, well, if we're signers on your bank account, and he goes in and steals $100-something and buys a house, now what? I said, but if he steals $100,000 and you're not signers on our account, nothing will happen to you. So why would you want to be signing? Right? So ultimately we said, no, you can't be signers on our account. 2 days later, I got a phone call from every other organization saying they pulled out. And that was that. We went on to something else. Right? So listen, I've always tried to do work in the interest of East Cleveland. And that sheet shows you all the things that we have done, that I have done. And that's just been since 2018. And before that, I have a wall full of plaques from where I coached youth league football here, where I ran youth academic enrichment programs here. I used to spend my vacation when I graduated from college and started working. I used to spend my 2-week vacation. The first week was spent taking Shaw students on a college tour. The second week was taking Kirk students on a museum tour. I've been dedicated to East Cleveland since East Cleveland dedicated itself to me in 1972. And so that's why I'm trying to come out and meet you all. Because again, I want you to know me, but more importantly, I want to know you. Because when I'm elected, I want to know what to start doing. Right? When I start talking about a 100-day plan, and I will have a 100-day plan, believe that. It will include the things that people have told me is important to them. Because if it doesn't include those, what am I wasting your time for? Huh? If I release my plan, if I'm elected mayor, and the first time I talk about my plan, and none of the things we've talked about come up in my discussion, I betrayed you. And there's no other way to put it. I betrayed you. I betrayed your trust. I betrayed your honor. And I'm not going to do that. I don't know everything that you need, but I promise you that I will make my best effort to do so. Equity. That's what I seek. And that's what I want you to seek. And together, we'll change the trajectory of the city. And we'll change the way people view the city. If we pride in our city, nobody else will. And right now, nobody's giving us any regard because they want our city, but they think of us in one of two ways, either ignorant or apathetic. Either way, they hope we won't do anything about it. We just sit and take it. That's not going to happen. University Circle is not going to have East Cleveland. We are not the eastern extension of University Circle. We are East Cleveland, Ohio. We are not Circle East. We will not be plastered with Circle East signs all over the place because they want to mask our identity. The county wants to put its people in place. Sure they have. And that's why this fight is going on right now. This fight is not between two people who want to be the mayor. This fight is between two entities who want to control our city. And they're using the people to do their bidding. And I always say, I don't know nobody, so I don't owe nobody.
Say that again.
I don't know nobody, so I don't owe nobody. If you're not a resident of East Cleveland, or a business owner in East Cleveland, or a property owner in East Cleveland, you're not getting nothing from me.
Yes.
For what? Now, if people in other communities, if we can partner together and do something in the best interest of both communities, I'm all for that. But East Cleveland will not be exploited. All right? We've got a lot of things going for us, and that's what we're going to exploit. Yes, Brandy. Yeah, we do, and we will research that. Curtis and I have been researching that for particular facilities for since 2018. Again, so what there are certain requirements that that we have to meet that are government sanctioned, and so we'll review the various properties to make sure that we can get that kind of status where necessary, because there's some protections for those facilities around that.
One of the former mayors wanted to take away the building or house with East Cleveland Community Theater. Well, they wanted to tear it down. Well, it's not eligible for national historic status because it was renovated. The building renovated in 1932. So therefore, that renders it ineligible for national historic status. But there was other things we did to keep the city's reputation.
And that place has 3 stages in it. We could do some great things, live entertainment there, right? And again, it's not about, look, we're not trying to build a theater and all we're showing is Tyler Perry plays and stuff like that. We want the full breadth of a theatrical experience, live entertainment, music, art, theater, right? Like they used to have. And we've got to figure out a way, and I'm not going to speak too much longer. We've got to figure out a way to keep dollars in our city. And the dollar in our city circulates less than one time. That means that you give it to a merchant and that merchant takes it out the city. We need that dollar to continue to circulate 5, 6, 7 times. I pay Curtis. And then Curtis pays Anita. Right? And then Anita pays Pam. And then Pam pays Pam pays Miss Fitz, and then Miss Fitz pays Brandy. And then I gotta pay both of them because they're doing the video work, right? So but that keeps the money in the community.
Right.
And that's what we got to do. And then when the money is ready to leave the community, we've benefited from it. But we don't have any place for people to spend money.
We have to have more in our city than gas stations, liquor stores, check cash.
Why are there 3 hotels in East Cleveland? Why are there 3 motels in East Cleveland? Ain't nobody staying over here for a business meeting the next morning. So why we got 3 motels?
Well,
No, I can't. And I don't. But I know we could be doing something else with those buildings. Renovate those buildings and turn them into some kind of living facility for people.
gas station the same way.
Right. What?
Why don't we have a good neighbor law close these gas stations between midnight 6 and 11?
And why are those gas stations right across the street from our high school?
Right.
So those are the kind of things we've got to think about. So, there's a lot of stuff to talk about between now and election time. And I hope that I get a chance to come out and talk to you folks again. And, but I really appreciate you all taking the time again out your day to come speak to me and to let me speak to you and to learn a little bit about me. And hopefully I have given you enough information to at least consider me for your next mayor on the primary election day in this case, which is September 9th. All right. And then the general election on November 4th. Yes.
After the primary, the 2 top vote getters.
Right. That's the difference now in our elections, right? Where it used to be a partisan election, 1 Republican, 1 Democrat, and you never had a Republican, so the Democrat would always win. Now it's nonpartisan and it's the top 2 vote getters. They will be on the ballot in November. So I'm hoping that I am one of those. So thank you all again. There's pizza, wings, and some dessert in the back. Help yourself. And thank you again.
Thank you. But I'm hearing about you.
Thank you so much.
I want to.
Okay.
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 Forgive me.
Enjoy the food and enjoy